Welcome back, my dear students. I hope you have been making a good progress and using these numericals to upgrade your standard. And if you haven't just started, start from lesson 1 and continue. And I have arranged them in a sequence from lesson 1 onwards. If you already know a lot of things, then skip to the lesson concerned. Today, we are going to do a quick revision, last minute revision. Okay, fast track revision, and your exam is approaching fast and you want last minute revision for your CP, PNR, also called PSR or radius of action. CP is also called point of equitime or equitime point. And in addition, we will study the relationship between CP and PNR. Are they related to each other? First, a quick revision. We know the value of x, dh over O plus h. Time to critical point, this distance x divided by O, dPSR is EOH over O plus H, and E is PSR endurance, PSR fuel. Total fuel on board minus reserve fuel is PSR fuel, divided by fuel consumption is the endurance, and E into O into H over O plus H is the distance. EH over O plus H is the time, or R divided by O. While calculating for the emergency period, emergency case, for the critical point, we use both O and H values reduced. For PNR, we apply a different formula or an equation. The DSR fuel, dPSR, is equal to PSR fuel divided by A plus B. A is fuel consumption per nautical mile outbound, that is fuel consumption normal by O normal. And B is fuel consumption per nautical mile on return, where fuel consumption and H both are reduced in the case of an emergency. But for calculating time to the critical point or the TPSR, time to the PSR, we use the distance x or capital R, which we have calculated, and divided by the normal ground speed out. Now, all this we know. If not, revise the previous two lessons. Today, we are going to concentrate on relationship between CP and PSR. And this relationship is only in a normal case and not in an engine emergency case, aircraft emergency case. What is the relationship? If only flight fuel and no surplus or excess fuel is carried, then critical point and PSR will coincide at the same point. They will be at the same point. Whereas if the excess fuel is carried or a surplus fuel is carried, CP will not change, but PSR fuel and the endurance will increase, and so will dPSR and TPSR. So, in case you are carrying excess fuel, dPSR will be after the DCP and TPSR will be after the TCP, time of critical point. And the questions are asked sometimes, and what is the excess fuel carried? Okay. Now calculate the flight fuel from here. Total distance D divided by O will be your flight time, multiplied by fuel consumption will give you flight fuel. Flight fuel plus reserves give you the minimum fuel on board required. And minimum fuel on board plus surplus or excess fuel is called total fuel on board. Total fuel on board minus the reserves is the fuel that you can use for PSR. So we find out PSR fuel divided by fuel consumption endurance, and that endurance we use for DPSR or TPSR. To find out the excess fuel, I need to calculate the PSR fuel from here and the flight fuel from the CP formula, and I will have the excess fuel. For example, in the question, if you are given DCP is 600 nautical miles, or you have calculated a DCP, and it says DCPR is after 60 nautical miles after CP. Therefore, now DPSR is 660 nautical miles. What does he want? He says, give me what is the extra fuel carried, which has given me this excess distance, right? If the DPSR is known to you, enter here and find out the endurance. With this new endurance, which I have found out, fuel consumption is known to you, find out the PSR fuel. PSR fuel minus flight fuel is my excess fuel. If PSR fuel is known to you, he could ask you what is the fuel consumption. If from here you calculated the PSR fuel. Next question is, he says that your TCP, time to critical point, is 2 hours 30 minutes and PSR is 45 minutes later. Now time to PSR becomes 3 hours 15 minutes. First convert it into hours. 15 divided by 60 is 0.25 hours. So put 3.25 hours of endurance here. TPSR is known to you now. Sorry, I beg your pardon. TPSR is 3.25 and find out the endurance from this formula. O1H is known to you. Again, with this endurance, find out the PSR fuel, and PSR fuel minus the flight fuel will be your excess or surplus fuel. Not difficult. There are questions asked on this concept also. Here today, we have already done questions on your CP and PNR or PSR. Today, I'm giving you some questions regarding this concept of excess fuel carried. These are the 3 questions. In question number 1, he says CP is 55 minutes before PNR. That means PNR, TPNR is 55 minutes plus the TCP. What is the excess fuel on board? Or rather, what is the fuel on board excluding reserve? In other words, he just wants you to find the PSR fuel. And of course, part A is DCP, fairly simple. In question number 2, he wants you to find out the fuel consumption, and PNR is 35 minutes after the CP. He wants you to find out the distance A to B and the excess fuel on board. In question number 3, true airspeed is given, DCP is given to you, track wind velocity is given to you. From this DCP formula, you will be able to find the leg distance. X is equal to DH over O plus H. He wants distance between the 2 points. And if PNR is 25 minutes after critical point, calculate the fuel consumption. As also, what is the extra fuel at the end of the flight? Find out PSR fuel and the flight fuel from the distance that you have calculated. And first do these 3 numericals. In these numericals, it is all these numericals are in which you will be using the PNR formula for endurance. If the distance is given to you, then use DPNR formula to find out endurance. And after you have tried these numericals, then only check these answers. Don't be in a hurry to check the answers first and hear the answers for you. Check them later on. Don't be tempted to look at the answers before you have done the questions. I'm cutting this lesson very short. And if you are liking the lessons and you'd like me to carry on with these lessons, do like and subscribe to my channel. And also don't forget to share it with your friends. Press the bell icon in case you would love to have notifications. Okay, and don't forget to press, it takes you less than 10 seconds to press like and subscribe. Thanks a lot. See you again next time. Bye-bye. Good luck. Happy landings.